Hey there. Good to see you guys. It's been a great day. And I hope that at home and you're able to get some rest. And I'm not going to be here long today, but I wanted to come in and talk with you to ask the question, did you equip your child with an emergency plan? And the reason why I ask that is because school is about to start, and some statistics show that 75% of active shooter incidents occur in schools and businesses. And I had the opportunity to take training in this area, and I was quite conflicted because as a Christian, in my mind, I'm thinking, God's going to take care of me, and He is. And so why are we talking about, protecting ourselves and having strategies in case we have an active shooter come into our school and those kind of things? But then I began to think about the fact that if the statistics say that 75% of these kinds of incidents happen in schools and in businesses, it would make sense for you to make sure that you had at least a plan. Because the Bible does say to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. And so I wanted to ask you today, do you have an emergency plan for your child? Have you equipped them with one? And when I ask that question, I'm asking about things like, when you hear something that sounds like gunshots, what should you do? Because believe it or not, human nature tells us we actually run towards the sound, because in our brain we're thinking, oh, somebody must be shooting fireworks off, and so we're opening our windows. Think about it. When you're at home and you hear shots, if you're not conscious, if you're not aware of what you should do, a lot of times you go towards the sound and say, well, what was that? Which is the very opposite thing you should do. Do your children know that? Do they know that when they hear something that sounds like gunfire, that they should just assume that it is? Do they know that when they hear something that sounds like gunfire, that they should get down and get low? Have you prepared them just in case there is an emergency? Like, I remember when the earthquake happened, it's probably been 8-10 years ago now. We actually had an earthquake here in our area. And when it was all over, it was just such chaos. The cell phone systems went down. You couldn't get in contact with anybody. And so some people, they just panicked because they didn't know what to do. So what happens if the cell phone system breaks down and you cannot reach your child? Have you guys designated a place where you have told them, in an emergency, you go here and we as a family will all meet in that place? Because we're living in a time now where you just never know. So that if we cannot connect with each other through cell phones, that we have a way to get to each other. Have you equipped them so that they can have a better chance of surviving if something goes down? I don't think we really think about it. I heard a law enforcement gentleman who did a training say that we're actually trained to die. And when he said that, I was like, huh? He said, think about it. When we are trained that when someone walks into a place and they have a gun, what's the first thing you do? You put your hands up. And where does that come from? You see people doing it on TV. But on TV, that's not reality. And that is not what you should do if somebody walks in with their hands up. And a lot of times, putting your hands up is just a natural reflex because you've seen that so much. But that's the wrong thing to do if somebody walks up on you with a gun. They say that you have an 80% chance of getting away from a person with a gun in their hand if you move. Because when you create action, it causes them to have to take a minute to readjust to what you're doing. So if you teaching your children about emergency preparedness and you're talking to them specifically about active shooter kind of stuff, it's never good just to stand there with your hands up when somebody walks in with a gun. You have to assume that they potentially are coming to harm you. The other thing you can't do is you can't talk down somebody with a gun. Don't try to say, you don't want to do this. I'm an only child. They do not care. When a person walks into your school, walks into your child's school, and they have a gun, they've come there to do harm. And your child has to know that. There are things that they can actually do. There are like steps that you can take. You can do this, you can do that, you can do that. Do they know what those steps are? You have to empower them, not cause fear. So the goal is not to get them all hyped up. You know your child, so you know what you can say, you know how you should say it. But you have to find a way to get them to start thinking about what to do in an emergency. Even if it's something simple like this is a place where we run, or this is a place where we go when the house catches on fire, or this is a place where you go when the school catches on fire, or this is what you do in a fire at the school. Getting down on your knees and checking the doors before you open them. We cannot assume that the people in the school are going to always be in a position to be able to help. We have to be able to equip them so that they can help themselves. But we have to think about it. And so each day I'm coming on with just questions to ask to help make sure that you have equipped your child. Do you guys have like a secret word that you use if there's something going on and they can't talk to you, but when they say that word, then you know that there's something wrong? If you don't, you need to get that. You have to become more proactive. And you can make it like a game. You can make it like it's a war game, or it's a spy thing going on. You can do it however you want to do it because you know your child. You just need to make sure you do it. So I have actually a webinar coming up. It's called Strategies to Survive, and it's for parents to give their students strategies so that when they're at school without their parent, they will be equipped in cases of emergency. If you guys are interested in attending a webinar like that, you can just put in the comments S2S, and that's just Strategies to Survive. In some ways, I'm saddened that we even have to go here in this world that we live in, though. It's probably time. It's being wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. So in the Strategies to Survive, it'll be things like tips for what to do if you hear shooting on the street or at your school. The 3 things you must remember to do in an emergency. How to choose a meeting place in the event of emergency. What to do while you wait. Of course, we would teach them to pray and wait on God, most of all. But it's really simple kinds of things. And I just want you to think about, have you had basic conversations with your child that will help them in the event that you're not there and they're at school, to know what to do in case the teachers are not there to help them? Of course, God is always with them, and so He is going to help them. And so I just wanted to come share that. I'm not going to be on long tonight. But what is your plan? I hope you have one. All right, guys. You guys have a good evening. Hey, Jessica. My comments are delayed. Good to see you. You guys have a fantastic evening. Good night.